You ever see those commercials on TV for the, what is it, like the carbonated water, do-it-yourself at home thing so that you could go out there and drink soda without it actually being soda? SodaStream, that's what it is. Yeah, I can't stop thinking about SodaStream, because in today's video what we're doing is we're going over a prospect that I personally have loved for a long time. If you had told me back in 2019 that this guy might be on the Vancouver Canucks radar, I would have been ecstatic, because I loved this guy as a draft-eligible player. Today, we are talking about Victor Soderstrom. No, Soderstrom, excuse me, Gazoon-tight Lego, but in today's video, we are talking about Soderstrom and his entire profile and whether or not the Vancouver Canucks could be involved here. So, who is Soderstrom? Well, he is a 23-year-old, 6 feet, 196-pound right-handed defenseman drafted by the Arizona Coyotes in the 11th overall spot in 2019. This is the guy who went one pick after Vasily Podkolzin in that 2019 draft. And honestly, if you remember some of the content that we were making on this channel back in the day in regards to the Canucks and the prospects that they had available to them, if Victor Soderstrom was the guy that Vancouver took in the 10th overall spot, I honestly would have been pretty okay with it. I was, okay, admittedly, really cheering for Cole Caulfield, so even if you watch the video where the Canucks went over and drafted Podkolzin, I was kind of saying, okay, Soderstrom, I don't know, man, but like, I wanted Caulfield. That was my number one. However, Boldy, Soderstrom, these guys were very equal choices as well. Alex Newhook was a guy that I thought could have been okay as well. But either way, Victor Soderstrom was ranked 3rd overall on the Arizona Coyotes draft board, and he went 11th overall to them. Unfortunately, though, for Soderstrom, he hasn't really been a full-time guy. In 2021-2022, he had spent 16 games with the Arizona Coyotes, and he had 32 games played in the AHL. In 22-23, 30 games played with Arizona, 44 in the AHL. In 2023-2024, only 3 games played with Arizona, 62 games played with Tucson. He had 32 points in 62 games played, which is fine. I mean, it's not like fantastic point production, but you gotta remember Victor Soderstrom is more of a defensive shutdown guy with good two-way ability rather than a purely offensively minded player. So either way, Victor Soderstrom, at 23 years old, has hovered around the AHL most of his career here. And right now, playing for Utah, he is unsigned. There are rumors percolating now as to whether or not the team would actually want to keep him around, highlighted by tweets like this. Craig Morgan posted this on Twitter 2 days ago. I'm hearing that 2019 11th overall pick Victor Soderstrom has switched agencies. Utah has been open to signing him, but they are also exploring trades. There has been some thought that he may decide to stay and play in Europe. Now, why would a guy want to go out there and do that? Well, even though Tucson is a very nice place to play, at the same time, you have to acknowledge, hey, this guy's 23. He should be in the NHL right now if his development had gone properly. The Arizona Coyotes were not a great team in 2023-2024 anyway, so if you're not able to crack that decor, you kind of have to question where your own development is at, and if Soderstrom himself is feeling like a change of scenery could be necessary, or that he should benefit from a return to Europe, then that's his prerogative to go out there and think about, right? Especially since he had changed agencies, it seems like there is some contemplation for changing things up. This is where we get into the Vancouver side of things, because if you go over to this recent segment of the Sekeres and Price show, there was a very interesting discussion about Soderstrom. Let's go back over to that Twitter account that we had talked about in the last video, Canucks News Summaries, because what they did was they took the Sekeres and Price episode from yesterday and transcribed the conversation about Soderstrom. The video is linked in the body of the post, and the tweet has a big text. Sekeres says there's still names out there. You'd think if they still had interest in Tyson Barrie, victorious Tyson Barrie, that would have already come to pass. He's a right shot, of course. Irfan says, I've got a name. Yeah? Victor Soderstrom. Oh, wow. The Arizona Coyotes moved up in the draft here in Vancouver in 2019 to pick Soderstrom at 11th overall. 23-year-old right shot defenseman, I think, looking for a new home. Now, whatever the Arizona or Utah organization wants, or what it's going to try to take to make that work, remains to be seen, but that is a name I would keep my eye on and I would be interested in. Now, the reason I like Soderstrom so much is because when you talk about pure offensive defensemen, guys who can do everything in the offensive zone and then some, Quinn Hughes, you can say he is that. Filip Hronek, you can say he's kind of that. Maybe like a 2B version of Quinn Hughes. Victor Soderstrom is not really that. He's a lot more of a defensively minded guy. His presence is more so felt in his own zone. He's a smooth skater, makes a quick first pass, and a lot of his projection heading into the 2019 draft saw him as maybe a top 4, 20 minutes a night kind of defenseman who could just do some really good things in his own zone and whom you didn't need to worry about defensively. He's not big, so he's not too physical, but he is a very agile player and he's able to get things done. I'm thinking now, if this is the guy that the Vancouver Canucks could play beside Quinn Hughes, that would honestly be like the best of all worlds, right? You have the offensive capability of Quinn, you've got the Chris Tanev-like shutdown role in a Soderstrom. You just tell the guy, hey, we don't care how many points you get. If you play with Hughes and you allow him to do his thing, and you can get back on D, you can make it so that Hughes' defensive responsibility is lessened, then that's kind of all you need to do to be valuable for this team. That seems like a very good idea, especially since Soderstrom is younger than Quinn. He's only 23 years old. Now sure, you can say that right now, as we had said, he hasn't cracked the Arizona Coyotes or Utah Hockey Club decor. How good can he really be at this point? But if he is 23 years old, there still is reason to believe that a defensively minded, shutdown defensive profile still can bring itself up. Maybe it's not going to come right away, but I still want to believe in this guy. Slow burn defensively minded players usually have longer careers anyway, especially if they really make it work and they start finding the proper ways to play that kind of style. So I'm kind of thinking if Soderstrom is available for cheap, this is the kind of guy that I think would be a really interesting replacement into that right side, long term at least, once Tyler Myers is gone, once Vinny Desharnais is in his 30s, and if he decides to leave at some point when his contract is up too. The Canucks have a few guys already rotating around on defense. Noah Juulsen's there, Mark Friedman's there. Of course, you've got Soucy, Forward, Hronek, Hughes, Myers, and Desharnais. But what's one more? Right? Especially with the injuries involved here. I don't know, maybe I'm just being such a homer for Victor Soderstrom that it's clouding my judgment, but either way, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Soderstrom being a Vancouver Canucks target? He is no Tyson Barrie, but he's a lot safer than that, I would say. I like this player a lot, and I think maybe a lot of that has to do with the rose-tinted glasses that I had back in 2019, but he was placed in the 3rd overall spot in the Arizona Coyotes leaked draft list that they had, or not even leaked, it was just kind of talked about by the GM at the time, I'm pretty sure. They loved this guy, now he's not really being used, and now he wants out, so what gives? Do the Canucks make this work? Is it something you would see value in? I think the entire Swedish connection as well. Pettersson to Lekkerimaki to Soderstrom. That sounds like a great idea. Patrick Alvin, make it happen, buddy. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.